It's probably not going to come as a shock that Hermes is my favorite brand, but that doesn't mean that I blindly support and love anything and everything that they launch. In fact, I have done several videos sharing my thoughts on Hermes pieces that I don't think are worth our money. And today we're going to be doing a similar video with a slight twist. I wanted to share with you some Hermes pieces that are incredibly popular online. Most people seem to love them, and I too was tempted by some of these pieces, but in the end I had to have a real sit down talk with myself, basically a reality check, because most of these pieces are just not that great. I don't think they are worth the money for what each one of these would add to your collection. So if you'd like to see my updated what I would not buy from Hermes, no matter how much I love the brand, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on watching. Let's dive straight in. And why don't we start with some accessories that I wouldn't buy from any luxury brand, not even from Hermes, which does say a lot. So the first pieces that I wanted to start with, and there are two pieces specifically that I had in mind that I wanted to share with you, are going to be tech accessories, and tech accessories that are really specific to a current model of iPhone, to the current AirPods that you have, and won't fit future sort of reiterations of these pieces or things that you tend to go through quite fast. And the two pieces that I really seriously considered at one point were the Bulldog iPhone case, which they launched. I think that came out maybe the year before I got my latest iPhone. I think they only made those for the iPhone 12, which is the reason why I never got those. They never actually made those for the newer iPhones. They brought them out for a season, and that's where it stopped. You can still find them out there if you have the iPhone 12, but they never made one for the iPhone 13, for the 14, and as far as I understand, they won't make any for any of the newer iPhones either. They made them for a season, and then I think they realized that they simply cannot keep up with how fast Apple is coming out with some of their new pieces. So unfortunately, that was a piece that I missed out on, and now in hindsight, I'm glad I did, just because who knows, I'm probably going to update my iPhone in a couple of years. And yes, it's a piece that I could use on a daily basis, but do I really want to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on an iPhone case that I'm going to ruin probably in a couple of months, because most of Hermes' iPhone cases are made of leather and I do clean my phone quite regularly. So it's definitely not something that would last and would stand the test of time, not to mention that that money could go towards something that is going to be an essential part of my collection, not something that is really not that special at the end of the day. I mean, if they had them in different colors, in different leathers, if you could choose from a wide range of different pieces and you could truly personalize it to fit your aesthetic, that would be a slightly different story. But Hermes only had one in Bavarian Faubourg with the Bulldog print, which I really did like, but I just simply don't think that it is the most suitable leather for a piece that you're going to be touching. I mean, let's be honest, our phones never leave our hands, so Bavarian Faubourg, a leather that is known for developing patina and changing color, texture, might not be the best choice for that specific piece in your life. But even if you have a favorite iPhone case from Louis Vuitton or from Dior, I don't know if I would feel comfortable even recommending those pieces, because I mean, unless you are like me and you stick with a phone for quite a long time, if you're someone who upgrades their phone every time a new phone comes out, it's definitely not something that I would personally put my money towards. And even if you don't upgrade your phone, is it really going to add that much to your collection or to your life? I'm not exactly sure, but please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I always have a hard time buying tech accessories that are quite specific to a certain piece, like an iPhone or an AirPod, that at one point down the line, sooner or later, who knows, but you will upgrade, and at that point your phone case or your AirPod case will no longer fit. And then a similar piece, but still slightly different, but something that I really seriously considered, I even asked for, and the only reason I never bought it is because my store never received it, which is something that Hermes launched, I want to say late last year, which were these little portable wireless chargers that also came in a larger little set, or in a larger setup, I should say, that you could buy for your home, which I want to say were called the Ashwatt, I think that's what they were called, which are basically this series of wireless chargers that, as I said, came in different sizes, different colors, different leathers, and you could even buy them for your home specifically for charging your iPhone, which I thought was genius. But I had to be really honest with myself and realize that there are three things that I can never look after, which are chargers, pens, and umbrellas. I mean, I cannot tell you how many expensive designer umbrellas I have lost over the years. The same goes for pens. And I mean, I have never invested into an expensive portable charger, but I do lose them quite often too. So I didn't want to buy something and spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on something that I knew I was going to lose at one point, when I could buy something from Amazon for a tenth of the price that is going to do the exact same thing. Now, if this is something that brings you joy, if you're constantly on the go and you want to pull out something incredibly chic from your phone, this is something that Hermes still has to offer, and I cannot say that it's not an insanely chic piece. But is it something that's worth your money? I'm not exactly sure. Moving on, there's an entire range of Hermes pieces that personally I would just never buy, and I would not feel comfortable recommending that you buy anything from this range, not only from Hermes, but in general, I would not recommend that you buy any silver jewelry pieces. You have to keep in mind that when you're buying a silver piece of jewelry, it's not going to be nearly as long lasting as if you bought the same piece made out of gold, because silver tarnishes, it oxidizes, it scratches, it chips, and it just simply doesn't age well. Now, is it going to be longer lasting than a piece of fashion jewelry? Yes, 1000%, but it's also a different league, I would say. I think when it comes to fine jewelry, I would highly recommend that you stick to gold pieces, and I understand that gold pieces are oftentimes going to be a lot more expensive, although the difference is not always as drastic as you would think it is. But yes, gold pieces are by nature going to be more expensive. So if you are considering a silver piece but there's a gold version of it, I would suggest that you save your money and you put it towards buying an actual gold piece that you know is going to last a lifetime. Now, there is one exception that I have to say. If you are going to buy a large oversized statement piece, obviously it makes sense for you to buy it in silver, not in gold, because in those cases the price difference can be tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you're buying a statement piece, yes, silver is a great option to go for. But if you're buying a more delicate, gentle, really subtle piece, I would always say to opt for gold over silver, especially when it comes to designer pieces, because I just don't think that in those cases silver is worth your money, considering how overpriced they are. If you love silver, definitely buy them unbranded. But if you're going to go to a brand, I would suggest sticking to gold. Let's be honest, Hermes does so much so well, but in my opinion, there's this one line of products that they just cannot nail down. I don't know why and how they can create these pieces that are so just sort of lackluster. I mean, are these the worst things that I have ever seen? No, they are not, but they're pretty bad considering how beautiful their bags, their leather goods, their fine jewelry pieces are. Yet they cannot create really simple straps, because when it comes to some of the straps that you can buy separate from their bags, some of them are pretty hideous, especially for the kind of prices that they charge. I can't remember ever finding a shoulder strap that I was really blown away by. The only one that I ever really considered was the Kelly pocket strap, which I loved the idea of, but I felt that it was incredibly overpriced for what it was. I mean, last time I checked, the shoulder strap was over $2,000, slightly, I think it was like $2,075 or something along those lines, which I think, well, I know that's a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a shoulder strap, which you do not even get a bag with. Not to mention that that specific shoulder strap, I think, is quite hard to style. It only comes in two different lengths. It comes in 85 and 105 centimeters. which I would have gone for the 105 centimeter one, but I have seen a lot of people style this on their mini Kellys, which I don't really know if that's necessarily the best look or the best match. I feel like because the strap is so thick, it's so wide, and it's so overwhelming, and the mini Kelly is so small, I don't really think that it looks proportionate. Yes, it can look great in a picture, but in real life, I think it would come off quite almost overdone in a way, and please let me know what you think. But anyway, that's the only strap that I ever considered, because the rest of Hermes' straps, especially the canvas ones or the woven ones, are really just kind of boring and overpriced. This next one might be quite controversial, but I can tell you from personal first-hand experience that these pieces you should not spend the money on, which are going to be Hermes back charms. With the exception of the rodeo, this is something that we have talked about time and time again. I do think that having one or two rodeos in your collection is not the worst idea, especially if you have a lot of Hermes bags. Adding just a pop of color with a single rodeo might be a good idea. But once you have one or maybe two rodeos in your collection, let me tell you, the third, the fourth, and the fifth won't make that big of a difference unless you're really into your colors and you love perfectly matching the color of your shoes and your outfit to the type of rodeo that you're carrying at that day. I really don't think that you need more than a couple of them, especially not now in my current mindset when I have been leaning towards having a more minimalist approach to the way I dress. Rodeos are definitely not something that go with my aesthetic, which doesn't mean that I'm going to sell my rodeos, but they're not the pieces that I'm really reaching for these days, and I wouldn't recommend that you go as crazy as I did. But anyway, we are not here to talk about the rodeos because you already know my thoughts on those little bag charms. Today we're going to be talking about the rest of Hermes' creations, some of which might be the most hideous things that I have ever seen. So I would definitely not buy any one of the other bag charms that Hermes has. So here I'm talking about the orange sandal inspired bag charms, which I cannot even say without giggling because it is such a ridiculous idea. Why would you want to put a tiny little version of a sandal on your bag unless you're putting it on your Barbie's bag or you are a doll collector and you want to buy little Hermes sandals for your dolls? These are not pieces that I think anyone should spend the money on. I mean, if you get them for free with a fragrance purchase, because that's kind of what it reminds me of. It kind of reminds me of a gift with purchase. If that was the case, I would be fine with it. But the fact that Hermes charges, I think, over $600 for some of these little, I don't even know what they are, air freshener looking little bag charms, to me that's just insane. That's not something that I would ever spend the money on. The same goes for the different reiterations of the rodeo bag charms, including the shearling teddy rodeo, also the Kelly Twilly, which is a piece that I do own myself, so I can tell you that it's definitely not worth your money. The same goes for the Kelly doll bag charm, which I think might be even worse than the Kelly Twilly, because the Kelly Twilly at least you can put on a bag without it looking ridiculous, whereas I'm not sure if you can do the same with the Kelly doll bag charm. So long story short, I just really wouldn't spend the money on bag charms, especially the kind of money that Hermes charges for some of these pieces, when this money could go towards truly unique creations that will transform any outfit that you put them on with. Like, imagine spending this money on a piece of Hermes SLG, on an Hermes wallet that you can also carry out on its own as a bag. I think that will do a lot more for your collection than a simple little bag charm wallet. And last but not least, we of course have to end on a bag, and I think you are probably guessing that I'm going to talk about the Lindy, which if you have been with me for a while, you know that the Lindy is a bag that I would never buy, purely because of the aesthetic and the design of the bag. I do have several videos sharing why I would not buy a Lindy, so if you'd like to find out why that is, if you're newer to my channel, which if you are, welcome. I'll make sure to have my thoughts on the Lindy linked down below for you in the info box, but I don't want to talk about it anymore because people are never really happy with me when I talk about the Lindy. It is quite a controversial bag to talk about, and I might be in the minority, but it's not a bag that I would ever spend the money on. To me, it is the ugly duckling of the Hermes bag family. But today we're talking about pieces that at one point I was tempted by. And let me tell you, the Lindy is a bag, probably the only Hermes bag that never ever tempted me, and it never could. Although I probably shouldn't say never, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. But there is an Hermes bag that I do consider every once in a while, and then I have to talk myself out of buying it because it's genuinely not a piece that I feel like would really suit me, or it would really suit most people, which is the Garden Party. Now, the Garden Party is a bag that in theory I should love. It's a bag that's been around for the past 60 years, and it's one of the most understated bags that Hermes creates. But there is something about the Garden Party. I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but there's something about the Garden Party that I don't love. Anytime I see someone carrying a Garden Party, to me it's a bag that just looks sort of sluggish and lazy instead of it elevating an outfit, which is what you would expect from a bag that is this expensive and a bag that it is by Hermes, who are the masters of creating some of the most beautiful bags out there. It does the exact opposite of what it's supposed to. Instead of it elevating an outfit, it kind of drags you down. It makes you look almost frumpy, and it's not about the size because the Garden Party does come in different sizes. So it goes from 30 through 36, 39, which I don't think is a size that is currently in production, all the way to 49, which is their take on a duffel bag. So you do have a wide range to choose from. It's a bag that comes both in leather and in canvas, so you also have options for color. It's not really about proportions as it can be sometimes with other bags. It's just about the overall look and feel of the bag. To me, this just seems like a glorified grocery bag. I think I've said this before, that to me the Garden Party is almost like something, especially when it comes to a canvas Garden Party. It feels like a bag that you bought from Trader Joe's, which is probably because at one point there was a bag by Hermes similar to the Garden Party that was made of completely out of canvas, and it is something that reminds me of the kind of reusable bags that you can actually buy at Trader Joe's. So maybe that's where this association comes from. And if you only use the Garden Party as a grocery bag, I mean, more power to you. It definitely makes an insanely chic grocery bag. But if you're carrying it even to run errands or do really anything with this bag, I just don't think it is the most flattering, and I'm not expecting this bag to do everything and cover all your bases. But for the kind of money that this bag costs, I just expect more. And obviously the quality is going to be outstanding. The leathers that they use are going to be buttery soft and just the best of the best. But these bags are some of the most unflattering bags, in my opinion, that Hermes produces. They don't add anything to an outfit and to your collection. In fact, they kind of do the opposite. But these are just my thoughts on some Hermes pieces that I wouldn't buy. And now it's your turn to let us know in the comment section, what are the Hermes pieces that you wouldn't spend your own money on? Are there pieces that you didn't like from the get-go? Or are there pieces that you kind of liked at one point but decided not to get for one reason or another? I cannot wait to hear your thoughts in the comment section. And also, if you'd like me to do a similar video on other brands, pieces that I wouldn't buy from other luxury houses, let me know what other brands we should cover. But for now, thank you so much for being here and watching, and I hope to see you back here with a new video really, really soon.